What if I told you the happiest country on earth has a secret, unwritten law that discourages you from believing you're special? That its people, surrounded by staggering wealth, find their greatest joy in the simplest, most rustic shelters imaginable, often without electricity or running water. This is Norway, a land that presents itself as a flawless utopia, a postcard, perfect society sculpted by glaciers and funded by oil. But beneath the glossy surface of deep blue fjords and progressive policies lies a world of profound contradictions. This isn't a journey to see the sights. This is a mission to understand the soul of a nation, to decode the hidden rules and uncover the price of perfection. Join me as we peel back the layers of the Nordic dream. We're often told Norway is a land of dramatic landscapes, but that's a dramatic understatement. In Norway, the landscape isn't just a backdrop, it's the main character in the national story. It's a relentless, shaping force that dictates life, molds the national psyche, and defines what it means to be Norwegian in a way few other places on Earth can claim. Its sheer scale is the first thing that hits you. As the sixth largest country in Europe by area, it possesses an emptiness that feels like a presence in itself. With a population of just over 5 million, the land-to-person ratio is staggering, a mere 15 people per square kilometer. To put that in perspective, the UK has 281. In the vast northern regions of Finnmark, there are genuinely more reindeer than people, roaming free across plateaus that stretch to an endless horizon. This space, this profound solitude, is the wellspring of a deep, almost spiritual connection to the wild. This connection has a name, a concept so fundamental, it's practically a civil religion, friluftsliv. It's often translated as open, air living. But that simple phrase fails to capture its soul. Friluftsliv isn't a hobby, it's a philosophy. It's the deeply ingrained belief that mental and physical well-being are intrinsically linked to time spent in nature. This isn't just a cultural preference, it's codified in the law. The Allemannsretten, or everyman's right, grants every person the right to roam freely on uncultivated land. You can hike, camp for a night, forage for berries, and fish in the fjords as long as you are respectful. It's a radical declaration that nature is not a commodity to be bought and sold, but a common birthright to be experienced by all. This is why on any given weekend, you will find Norwegians of all ages trekking through forests, skiing across vast plateaus, or sailing through the silent majesty of the fjords. It's not just for exercise, it's for spiritual maintenance, a necessary ritual to ground oneself. But this romantic picture has a brutal, unforgiving counterpart. The very landscape that offers sublime beauty also imposes immense challenges. That stunning 63,000-kilometer coastline, a chaotic and beautiful tangle of islands and fjords, makes travel a logistical nightmare. A journey that would be a simple 2-hour drive in another country becomes a complex, day-long dance of car ferries that ply the waters like floating bridges, navigating through winding mountain passes that are often closed in winter, and plunging into impossibly long tunnels, bored straight through solid rock. The Eldad Tunnel, the world's longest road tunnel at an astonishing 24.5 kilometers, isn't a tourist attraction, it's a vital artery. Its construction, complete with 3 massive caverns illuminated with blue and yellow light to mimic sunrise and keep drivers alert, is a testament to the sheer human will and engineering prowess required to simply get from A to B in this country. The cost, both in time and money, of simply connecting the nation is a constant reality of life here. And then there's the weather, the ultimate shaper of the Norwegian character. The seasons here aren't a gentle transition, they are two opposing forces. The summer is a frantic, joyous, almost desperate celebration of the midnight sun, where for weeks or even months, daylight stretches for 24 hours. The sun hangs low on the horizon, casting an ethereal, golden glow at 2 a.m. Life moves outdoors, people stay up late, hike at midnight, and soak in every last photon with a palpable urgency, because they know what's coming. The winter. In the south, it means short, dark days that can test one's spirit. But in the north, above the Arctic Circle, it's the Emrakatid, the polar night. For months on end, the sun does not rise above the horizon. The world is plunged into a perpetual, moody twilight of blues and purples. This is where the landscape's psychological tyranny is most felt. And it is here that the concept of kaos, or its adjective form, koselig, becomes not just a nice idea, but a fundamental survival strategy. Kos is the art of manufacturing coziness, intimacy, and warmth in the face of the encroaching dark. It's the deliberate, conscious act of finding light in the deepest darkness. It's the flicker of dozens of candles arranged on a windowsill, the tactile warmth of a thick wool sweater, the shared silence with a loved one by a crackling fire, a steaming cup of coffee clutched in both hands. The stunning Norwegian landscape isn't just something to be admired from a distance. It's a force to be reckoned with, a challenge to be survived. And in that cyclical struggle, Norwegians find their deepest, most resilient sense of self. If the landscape is the hardware of Norway, then its unique social code is the operating system, a complex, often invisible program that governs every interaction. On the surface, it's a society that appears to have won the lottery of life. Universal healthcare, tuition, free education for all, and a work-life balance that is the envy of the world. The standard work week is 37.5 hours, and leaving the office at 4 p.m. is not just accepted, it's the norm. This system is built on a foundation of immense social trust, a resource more valuable than oil. You feel it everywhere. You see it in the unattended farm stands by the roadside, piled high with strawberries or potatoes, with a simple wooden box for payment. Take what you need, leave what you owe. You see it in the most startling sight for many visitors' baby strollers, with infants sleeping soundly inside, left parked on the sidewalk outside a cafe, while their parents are inside. This isn't neglect. It's the ultimate expression of a high-trust society, the belief that the community is safe, and that people will look out for one another. But to truly understand, to move from being an admirer to a participant, you must learn to navigate an unwritten, powerful, and deeply ingrained cultural law Janteloven. The Law of Jante, originating from a satirical 1933 novel by Axel Sandemos. Its principles are ancient and woven into the very fabric of Scandinavian culture. It consists of 10 rules, but they all carry one core, thunderous message. You are not to think you are anyone special. You are not to think you are better than us. To an outsider, especially from a culture that fetishizes individual achievement and self-promotion, this can feel incredibly foreign, even stifling. It's the reason Norwegians rarely boast about their accomplishments or wealth. A highly successful CEO might introduce themselves simply by their first name and talk about their latest hiking trip, never once mentioning their title or company. It fosters a powerful sense of egalitarianism and humility, acting as a social adhesive that discourages arrogance and keeps society grounded. However, Janteloven has a shadow side. Critics argue that it can suppress ambition, discourage innovation, and punish those who dare to stand out. The fear of being seen as arrogant or too much can lead to a culture of conformity, tall poppy syndrome, where success is sometimes met with suspicion rather than celebration. For foreigners, this makes social interactions a minefield. The typical Western path to friendship, sharing your successes, talking animatedly about yourself, can be interpreted here as blatant bragging. This leads to the biggest challenge for many expats, cracking the Norwegian social code and making friends. Norwegians are often perceived as reserved, polite but distant, and even cold at first. They value privacy and personal space immensely. The key to breaking through this wall of politeness isn't small talk with strangers at a bus stop, it's shared activity. Friendship is forged not through words, but through common purpose. You make friends by joining a hiking club, a choir, a volunteer organization, or a sports team. And this is where another crucial concept comes into play: dugnad. Dugnad is the essence of Norwegian community spirit. A session of voluntary, unpaid work for the common good. It's when the residents of an apartment building come together to tidy the gardens, or when parents from a local school gather to paint the classrooms. There's no pay, only a shared sense of responsibility and accomplishment, which is almost always followed by coffee and waffles. Participating in a dugnad is one of the fastest ways for a newcomer to be accepted into a local community. It's a practical demonstration of the Norwegian ethos. We are all in this together. Life here isn't just about receiving the benefits of a welfare state. It's about actively contributing to it, understanding the subtle rules of humility, and finding your place within the tightly woven, yet deeply rewarding, social fabric. Norway's immense wealth feels almost mythological, a permanent feature of its identity. But it's a remarkably recent story. Before oil was discovered in the North Sea in 1969, this was a relatively modest, even poor, nation of fishermen, farmers, and sailors. The discovery of black gold was a lottery ticket that could have easily led to the infamous resource curse that has plagued so many other nations. A sudden rush of wealth leading to rampant corruption, crippling inequality, and a hollowed-out economy that collapses when the resource runs dry. Norway did something radically different, something almost unheard of in modern history. Instead of spending the windfall, they began to save it. They established the government pension fund Global, now known colloquially as the Oil Fund. It is the largest sovereign wealth fund on the planet, holding assets worth over $1.5 trillion. This fund owns, on average, 1.5% of every single listed company in the world. But this isn't a national bank account for politicians to dip into. It is a profound, legally binding statement of intergenerational responsibility. The money is seen as belonging not to the current government, but to all Norwegian people, present and future. By law, the government is only allowed to spend the expected annual real return from the fund's investments, typically around 3%, not the capital itself. This ensures the wealth will benefit generations to come, long after the last drop of oil is pumped from the North Sea. This incredible foresight has funded the utopian welfare state, but it creates a fascinating, everyday paradox. You are living in one of the richest countries in the world, yet daily life is governed by a striking sense of frugality and pragmatism. The cost of living is astronomical. It's not just a little pricey, it's eye-watering. A simple cup of coffee can easily be $5s. A pint of beer at a bar will set you back $12 or more. Dining out is a special occasion, not a weekly routine. Let's look at a basic grocery run. A loaf of bread is around $4, a liter of milk $2.50, and a kilogram of chicken breast can push $15. So how do people cope? They adapt, embracing a culture of thrift, the matpeg. The packed lunch is a national institution. From schoolchildren to corporate executives, nearly everyone brings a simple, home-prepped lunch to work or school, typically a few slices of whole-grain bread with a single topping, neatly wrapped in paper. It's a practical solution, but also a reflection of the Janteloven ethos: simple, unpretentious, and efficient. The other side of this economic coin is a fierce, strategic commitment to a future beyond oil. Norway is a world leader in the green transition, a paradox for a nation whose wealth comes from fossil fuels. While it exports oil and gas, it powers itself almost entirely on renewable energy, with about 90% of its electricity generated by hydropower. But the economy is also diversifying. Norway is a global powerhouse in aquaculture, with its farmed salmon found in supermarkets worldwide. Its maritime industry is at the forefront of developing green shipping technologies. The most visible symbol of this green shift is the electric vehicle revolution. Over 80% of all new cars sold in Norway are now fully electric. This isn't because Norwegians are inherently more virtuous, it's because the government made it the overwhelmingly logical economic choice. Generous tax exemptions, waived road tolls, free parking, and access to bus lanes made EVs cheaper to own and operate than their gas-powered counterparts. It's a masterclass in using economic policy to steer societal change. Norway's story isn't just about getting rich, it's about the difficult, ongoing debate of how to use that wealth responsibly, balancing present needs with future obligations, and navigating the profound contradictions of being a green-minded oil state. The final pieces of the Norwegian puzzle, the very architecture of its egalitarian philosophy, are its systems of education and healthcare. They are not treated as commercial services, but as fundamental public goods, the cornerstones of a stable and equitable society. The journey begins in the barnehage, or kindergarten, which is attended by over 90% of children aged 1 to 5 and is heavily subsidized. The focus here is not on early academics, but on play, social development, and, of course, friluftsliv. Children play outside for hours every single day, in sun, rain, or snow, learning resilience, risk assessment, and a deep love for nature from their earliest years. This philosophy of holistic, child-led learning continues through the school system, which emphasizes collaboration, critical thinking, and problem-solving over rote memorization. Then comes the feature that is most startling, almost unbelievable. To many outsiders, public universities in Norway are tuition-free. This applies to everyone, regardless of nationality: Norwegians, EU citizens, and students from anywhere else in the world. Imagine earning a bachelor's, master's, or even a PhD from a world-class institution without accumulating a mountain of student debt. This is not just an act of national generosity, it's a cold, calculated, and brilliant strategic investment. Norway believes that a highly educated populace, unburdened by debt, is the best possible engine for innovation, social mobility, and long-term economic stability. But how do students afford to live? Through the Studentsamskipnad, or student welfare organizations, which provide a whole universe of support services, including subsidized housing, affordable cafeterias, health services, and sports facilities. Furthermore, the system deeply values vocational training. A fagbrev, or craft certificate, in a trade like carpentry, plumbing, or mechanics is a highly respected and well-paid career path, challenging the narrow, often class-based assumption that a university degree is the only route to a successful life. The healthcare system operates on the same foundational principle. Health is a human right, not a commodity. It's a universal, single-payer system funded by taxes. Every resident in Norway is entitled to a vassalage, a general practitioner who acts as their primary point of contact and gatekeeper to the rest of the system. This ensures continuity of care. While there are modest co-pays for visits and prescriptions, typically around 30D, there's a crucial safety net and annual cap. Once an individual has spent about 300 out of pocket in a calendar year, almost all further approved medical care, specialist visits, hospital stays, physical therapy, prescription medications, is completely free for the rest of that year. For children under 16 and for maternity care, it is always completely free. Of course, the system isn't a flawless utopia. The main criticism, as in many public systems, is the waiting times for non-urgent, elective procedures. But for anything critical or life-threatening, care is immediate and of a high standard. This cradle-to-grave security is woven into the fabric of life and is nowhere more visible than in its approach to family. New parents are entitled to 49 weeks of leave at 100% pay or 59 weeks at 80% pay. Crucially, a significant portion of this leave, currently 15 weeks, is reserved specifically for the father on a who's it or lose it basis. This isn't just maternity leave, it's parental leave, a powerful policy tool designed to promote gender equality in both the workplace and the home, ensuring both parents are deeply involved from the very beginning. This is the Norwegian blueprint, a society that has deliberately chosen to pool its immense resources, to trade high taxes for unparalleled security, and to invest in its people's minds and bodies as its most valuable and most enduring asset. So, Norway is not the simple utopia it appears to be. It's a complex, living experiment, a nation that balances immense wealth with a culture of humility, breathtaking beauty with a harsh and demanding climate, and individual freedom with a powerful collective spirit. It is a society built on deliberate choices and profound trade-offs, a constant negotiation between nature, community, and the future. It's a reminder that the most idyllic destinations often hold the most compelling and complicated stories, challenging us to look beyond the surface. What part of the Norwegian social contract surprised you the most? The law of Jante, the right to roam, or the tuition-free universities? Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. If this story opened up a new perspective for you, please share it with a fellow traveler who loves to look deeper than the postcard view. Subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating and misunderstood places. And if you're curious about another nation forged by a complex past, check out our video on the reinvention of North Macedonia.